Are you tired of scrolling through Instagram feeling like your business is going nowhere? It can be really hard when you see so many other business owners and coaches and course creators constantly sharing their huge wins, and you're not seeing the same in your business. It's time to stop wasting your time and energy on strategies that don't work. I am super excited to invite you to join my brand new free challenge, 5 Steps to Sales on Instagram. In this exclusive challenge, I'm going to teach you how to create a winning Instagram strategy that actually brings in sales. I am a caregiver I am a homeschooler and a military spouse. I know firsthand how crazy life can get, but I've also managed to build a successful business while still having time to enjoy my family. That's why I made sure everything you get in this challenge is fluff-free. I'm talking actionable tips, daily prompts, and a private podcast so you can get all the information you need while you go about your life, because I know you don't have time to waste. Don't miss this opportunity to finally have an Instagram strategy that actually leads to sales. Sign up now for free at sociallyyours.biz/challenge before the doors close on September 13th. Hello, and welcome to episode 56 of Mompreneur Mastery, Simple Instagram Strategy for Busy Moms. Today, I want to talk about something I think everyone kind of hates doing, but is just so important when your ultimate goal of using Instagram is making sales. And that is creating a content schedule. But the big thing here, because I'm sure you've consumed a ton of content already about how to schedule it, how to plan it, and all of that. The thing I really want to focus on here is why it's important, how to make it actually lead to sales, and how to make it work for a mompreneur, because I know the thought of taking the time to do this can be really overwhelming, especially if you are working with kids at home, it's really hard to find time to sit down and do a bunch of planning at once, right? You're kind of working in the mom cracks of your day. So we're going to talk about how to do it so that it leads to sales and how to do it so that it actually works for you as a super busy mom business owner. Welcome to the Mompreneur Mastery Podcast, where we share actionable Instagram strategies that fit into a busy mom schedule so that you can get more engagement, more leads, and more sales in less time. I'm Sydney O'Brien, an Instagram strategist who started my business with 3 kids under 5 and found a way to do it without sacrificing quality time with my family and only working 2 hours a day. I love helping other mom business owners find that seemingly impossible mom work-life balance instead of spending too much time creating content that isn't getting them the results they want. If you're an overwhelmed but very ambitious business owner and you want to strategize the heck out of your Instagram account so that you can save time and make more sales, you're in the right place. So there are definitely days where I'm definitely riding the struggle bus. Like, a million things to do, no time to do them. It's overwhelming, it's stressful. I find myself getting irritated and anxious and all the things just from this never-ending to-do list. I really hate that feeling. I hate that overwhelmed feeling. It makes me super anxious. And when I get anxious, I get irritable. It's not cute. It's not fun for me or like anyone around me. And my goal with my business is always to support my family, right? I want to not only make money, but also make sure I can be there for my family when they need it. I don't want it to overrun my life. I don't want to get to that point where I'm anxious and irritable and not showing up for my family in the way that I should be. And the way that I do that is by planning ahead. Sounds boring. Sounds maybe a little overwhelming, especially if you're not like a type A person that likes planning. I like the idea of planning, but the execution is really hard for me. But I think I have some ways that it might still be helpful for you, because when you do have a plan for your content and you can, just having the plan, make sure that 2 major things here, right? Make sure that you're staying consistent. And when I say consistent, I don't just mean with your posting schedule, although that is important for the algorithm and your audience. But I also mean consistent in your messaging when you have a plan that you can stick to. When you are consistent in your messaging and you're talking about the same things in slightly variated ways, You are building trust with your audience, and trust is one of the 5 steps that I teach inside Post with Purpose. What's one of the 5 steps that you just have to have if you want your followers to turn into clients or customers. So building the subconscious trust is so, so important. And you do that with consistency in your messaging, in your posting, the things you talk about, and how you talk about them. So having a content plan really helps with that. It also helps save time in the long run. I know it feels very daunting, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And when you're able to do it, even just in chunks, it saves a whole bunch of time of, scrolling for post inspiration, stressing about what the heck to post, staring at like the blank canvas screen, wondering, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? All of that is just, it's gone. You don't have to worry about that anymore. It's so like the time aspect, but also the stress of that and the anxiety that might come with that is just, you don't have to worry about it. Okay. It's pretty amazing. And the way we do this is we have to think about a few things here. Number one, your content pillars. This is something I talked about way, way back when I first started the podcast. I think it's episode like 7 or 8. If you are unfamiliar with that term and you want to get a little more familiar, check that out. But it's basically like the main topics that you're going to talk about, but you want to make sure they highlight what is unique about you because if we're being honest, there's a whole bunch of people on Instagram, and a lot of them are probably doing the same thing you are. You have to stand out to your specific audience. What about you makes you different from the other people that do what you do in a way that will really attract and allow you to connect with your specific target audience? Keep that in mind when you are thinking about your content pillars. Okay, so you want to have somewhere between 3 and 5. And from there can be like different subtopics and like subtopics. That's totally fine. We're just talking like big picture. What the heck are you talking about? Okay, so that would be thing number 1. Thing number 2 is what step you're on in your Instagram strategy, right? So the thing I teach inside Post with Purpose, I use it in my content, I use it in my clients' content. It is this 5-step strategy for sales on Instagram. The steps are growth, engagement, connection, trust, and selling. And they have to go in order. You have to have like number 1 box checked before number 2 can happen. Because if you don't have the growth, and I'm not talking a ton of followers, I mean growth, having the right people in your audience, you're not going to get the engagement. They're not going to connect with you. They're not going to buy from you. So you need to know which step you're on, which step you need to work on, and use that so that you can plan your posts accordingly so that they actually lead to sales, right? Posting without purpose, posting just to post isn't super helpful, especially when we do have a goal in mind. And the goal for us as mompreneurs, as business owners, is usually getting clients or customers or leads, right? All of that comes from having a strategy. And that's another thing that planning your content out ahead of time does for you. It makes sure that you can easily keep track of like what posts have what purpose to make sure you are reaching each step in your strategy, if that makes sense. So you can make sure you're getting those growth posts. You can plan out to make sure that you're getting the engagement posts, connection posts, that you're building trust, and that you're selling when you should be selling. If this is something you want to learn more about, definitely stick around until the end of the episode because I have a free thing that is definitely going to help you with that. So once you have identified which step of the strategy, and you can now post with purpose. You know what you need to work on. You know the goal of each post because there should be one singular goal for each post, one very specific focus, one call to action. All of that should be very granular here. You don't want to do too much with a post. If you think about what state of mind people are in when they're scrolling Instagram, they're not looking for long paragraphs of, complex information. They're mindlessly scrolling, doom scrolling. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it super simple, and keep that one purpose in mind for each post. And the way I do it, because it is very hard for me to get a huge chunk of time to get work done because I'm home with my kids all day. It's very rare for us to have childcare or outside support in that way, is I break it down into different pieces. So in one sitting, I might just plan out what kind of post is going to go where. And I do this in Google Sheets, and I do this for not only Instagram content, it's all linked together with email marketing, with podcasting, all that stuff. But very general topic ideas, depending on like if I'm doing a launch, if I am want to sell something in particular, all of that comes into play. But I just sit down and I map it all out in like Google Sheets, just very general purposes and very general topics. And then, depending on if I have to fetch any snacks or mediate any sibling arguments, I will go back in and get a little bit more specific in the topics. I might put out some hooks. I might give a brief overview of what I want that post to look like put in a very specific call to action I want to use. Like, do I want comments? Do I want follows? Or do I want it to be a reel? Do I want it to be a carousel? Do I want it to be like a quote, like a single image post? Things like that. I will get a little bit more specific. And then if this is like too much planning for you, you can stop there and you've got like a great start. If like batch creating and scheduling just sounds like something that doesn't work for your brain, because we are a neurodiverse family, and I completely understand different people's brains work in different ways. So while there are benefits to this, it's going to look a little different from person to person just because of what works for you specifically. So if that's like too much for you, like stick with that, and you at least have a plan to go off of to make sure you're checking those boxes of consistency and messaging and strategy, right? So that you can actually get the sales you want from your Instagram. If you want to just completely take it off your plate, so it's like you can create and schedule and be done with it for a couple weeks or a month or whatever it is, from here, I would go and actually start creating the content. I will make it in Canva. I will type out a caption in Notes, or I will find an audio for Reels and put like copy and paste a link to it in the Google Sheet under the date that I want it, so that I can easily find it and make it and either schedule it or just post it. Now, for scheduling content, if you are scheduling a reel with an Instagram specific audio, not like you talking or anything, you can do it inside of Instagram. When you go to create the reel, go to the part where you put it, like type in the caption, scroll all the way down to advanced settings, and there will be a button, an option there for you to schedule it. Can be a little glitchy, as sometimes things with Meta are, which is why I also don't recommend using their scheduler like in Meta Business Suite. I use Metricool. It's probably like one of the most cost-effective, but also most robust scheduling tools because of all the platforms it connects to and all of the data it gives you. I've tried a whole bunch and it's my favorite, hands down. So if you're looking for one, definitely check that out. It also integrates with Canva. So if you're sharing a carousel or any kind of graphic from Canva, you can go where you go to download it, you can click more and connect it to Metricool, and it will just send the image and a caption over to Metricool, and you can schedule it there. It's super easy. I can schedule a month of content in like 10 minutes. It's pretty awesome. And then it's all automated and you don't have to worry about it. And you can just work on planning the next month whenever you need to, or the next week, however much you want to do. I try to do a month at a time for myself and my clients. But again, different brains work in different ways. And if you're new to this, don't bite off more than you can chew, especially while you're getting used to it. Just do what feels good, what you're able to. And then the more you do it, the easier it gets and the less time it takes as well, which is very nice. Another thing I want to mention here is the importance of repurposing content. And this can be, if you have long form content like a podcast or a blog, you can use that in your Instagram content. You can also just reuse past Instagram content, check your insights, see what did well, what people really responded to and resonated with, and repurpose it in new ways. I actually have a very specific framework I follow for this. I put it into a course, the content maximizer system, because I don't like having to reanalyze and refigure everything out every time that I do it. I like having a specific set of steps and a specific way to take one post and be able to turn it into 20 new ones. It's so invaluable because it helps save a ton of time, but also it really, really helps with that messaging piece that I was talking about earlier, that consistency and repeated messaging. So it helps build that trust, but it also helps get your message to people of different buyer types, right? Because different people respond to different things. So when we're able to repeat ourselves in slightly different ways, and maybe an example would be like an analytical buyer versus like an emotional buyer. If you're able to talk about the same offer, the same pain points, the same general goals, or the transformation of that offer in both of those ways, both from an analytical standpoint and from an emotional one, and you know exactly how to do that, you're able to reach more people, you're able to build that trust with your followers, and you're able to get more clients from it. So again, do it in chunks. Don't feel like you have to do a month at a time. Do what works for you. Think about your purpose with each post, what step of a strategy you're on, so that you can post with purpose and have a plan that actually leads to sales instead of just throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks and what happens with your account and your business. And again, if the strategy side of things, knowing what step of the strategy and how to get each step accomplished so that you can actually get sales from your content is something you want to learn more about, I am super excited about a new thing I've been working on. I have a free challenge that is starting on September 16th. It is called 5 Steps to Instagram Sales. It's a 5-day challenge where each day we talk about each step that you have to have. And if you are not familiar with me, I am anti-fluff. I want to share actionable things so you can actually get results. So each day you'll also get a very specific prompt to do so that you can get results and actually get sales from your Instagram. You'll be getting an email with the information and a prompt. And there's also a private podcast because I know you are short on time and we all get through the day with lots of multitasking. So you can listen to the information and learn about each stage of the Instagram strategy that you need while you're off doing other things. Maybe it's folding laundry, maybe it's writing emails or walking your dog, whatever it might be. But I wanted to make it super accessible and super valuable to you. So head to the link in the show notes to join the 5 Steps to Instagram Sales free challenge. And make sure you do that before the doors close on September 13th. And again, it starts on the 16th. And I cannot wait to do that challenge with you. Thank you so much for listening to Mompreneur Mastery, simple Instagram strategy for busy moms. If you found this episode helpful, if you were nodding along at any point or wanted to take notes, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and also leave a rating and review so that more mompreneurs can benefit from this information. And don't forget to find and fix the gaps in your Instagram strategy so you can make more sales with the free quiz in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait to be back in your earbuds next week. Hey Mompreneur, did you know that the bulk of sales on Instagram happen in the DMs? It's true. That personal connection piece that I always talk about happens in those one-on-one conversations in DMs. That is why I made a training on how to strategize DMs so you can build that connection, nurture your followers, and sell to them in a non-cringy way. This strategy got me a 50% conversion rate on my last sale. Get access to the cringeless DM strategy today for only $27 at the link in the show notes so you know exactly what to say and when to say it to get more sales on Instagram.